Jamaal Bowman just won his primary and took down longtime Democratic incumbent Eliot Engel, and that's a really big deal. Engel is the current chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, and he's been in Congress since 1989. That's 31 years. And this is pretty much a repeat of what AOC did to Joe Crowley just 2 years ago, and it also happened in New York. And these results immediately made me think of an interview AOC did with Sam Seder on the Majority Report just a few days ago.
Democrats in those deep blue seats who are, in your words, if I understand what you're saying, basically providing cover for the rest of the caucus to move to the right because they're ostensibly in the deepest blue seats. Is that part of the theory? Go after those and turn those first?
Well, I think that those seats tend to be very accessible for the progressive movement, right? It's accessible to the progressive movement. It's a lower lift in resources because it's already in our pocket, right? Whereas, yes, I believe that you can swing a seat with a progressive candidate, absolutely. But it also costs $15 million to do so for one vote. Whereas you can run, we can better use our small dollar resources, take that 10 million, scatter it around other seats.
AOC is 1000% right, and I've been saying it for years. If the left was just a little bit smarter about which candidates we chose and which ones we decided to invest all our small dollars in, we would probably win more seats, or at the very least, we wouldn't waste so much money and time and effort on seats we definitely can't win. Now, it's important to note, just like AOC did, we're not saying don't invest in seats like the Senate seat in Kentucky. That's going to cost millions and millions and millions of dollars. That's already cost millions and millions and millions of dollars to maybe win a primary, only to go on to face Mitch McConnell in a general that, frankly, is probably unwinnable. And I love Booker. He's a great candidate. But, like AOC said, $15 million versus a couple $1 million is a big difference when you're relying on small dollar donations. Booker in Kentucky is dope, but that race is kind of a money pit. Let's say we get him to raise $20 million against Mitch McConnell. Mitch will have 40 million, 50, 60 million, no problem at all. Small dollar donations can't fuck with that. There's no way. Mitch McConnell can flood the airwaves, the radio, the mailboxes at any point. And he'll trick people and he'll lie to them. Last time in 2014, he sent a mailer out that said it was essentially illegal to vote for Allison Grimes. He doesn't care. He does not care. And so until we have the whole party and the entire machine working with us to take down a heavy hitter like McConnell, our money is probably better served other places. Now, that doesn't mean completely give up on these deep red seats. No. That just means we don't need to put $20 million there. It'd be great for Booker to still have a couple million to create foundations, to get people in the field trained, to get people used to getting their doors knocked, to revitalize democracy in the hollers of Eastern Kentucky. That would be wonderful. But it's going to cost an unreachable amount of money to actually win the race. Now, I'm super glad Booker is going to win this primary, hopefully, because McGrath is just a worse version of Allison Grimes, who lost to McConnell in 2014. But with that said, that race is going to cost him $40, $50 million. And with that kind of money, we could run 30 or 40 really strong progressive House races. Think about this with an actual state, not a congressional district. In a congressional district, you can go anywhere and still sleep in your bed at night. In a Senate seat, you can't. That's not possible every night. You're in buses going thousands of miles a day. Did you know that a campaign bus can cost $100,000 a month easily with miles and a driver and hotels and meals and gas? And that's one of the major reasons these establishment candidates stick to their donors, because there's no way they can power the campaign that's needed to win without a shitload of money. And so they rely on the people who give them a shitload of money, not the people like us who give them a little bit of money. Now, for me, this really comes down to vote count. How many actual physical votes does a candidate need to win? If they need hundreds of thousands of votes, that race is going to cost millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars, easily. But if they need 25, 30,000 votes to win a primary in a heavy blue district that's definitely gonna go blue in the general, well, then maybe you only need $1 million or a couple $100,000. I mean, look what Jamaal Bowman did. He took down one of the most powerful Democrats in the country, and he raised like $2 million. He had a $350,000 ad buy. Now that's big, small dollar money, but that ain't beat Mitch McConnell money. The point being, we can be much more efficient, be much more competitive in many more races, which would result in more likelihood of winning seats for progressives in Congress, as opposed to trying to flip seats from the GOP right now while we don't actually have the power to do that. We can't apply all the pressure we need. It's much cheaper and much more efficient to actually win progressive seats in Congress, to throw out the centrist and establishment Democrats and replace them in deep blue districts, which then empower them to push the entire party left, as opposed to surrounding establishment entrenched Democrats with outsiders. We can just replace the insiders for cheap. And then once we replace the insiders, that's when we can actually start taking control of the party. And progressives in the Democratic Party have to be willing to fight internal battles and make it very public. They have to be willing to get their hands dirty. Listen to what AOC says here about Barbara Lee and how she was essentially blackballed.
We're going to have to also work a lot on supporting the standard bearers and uplifting them in positions of power. You know, Barbara Lee ran for chair of the Democratic caucus, and she was essentially kind of undercut by a more conservative wing of the party. And so we really need to have our inside game in terms of uplifting and making sure that we're surging some of those progressive standard bearers in the same way that we also have an outside game. Because when you have, you know, Pramila Jayapal or Barbara Lee or any one of these progressive leaders, Ilhan, Ayanna Pressley, et cetera, pushing on whether it's decarceral policy, whether it's healthcare policy, whether it's, foreign policy and beyond, we have to make sure that we've got their back and that we are keeping attention to the inside fights as they are happening.
The only way we can ensure progressives can actually seize power in the Democratic Party right now, while so many Democrats are pretending to be progressive. Keep in mind, 40% of Democrats are in the progressive caucus, and we know that's absurd. So the real progressives need to be willing to pick fights with the ones who are saying that they're progressive and make it public. Call them out. Say, hey, you said you were progressive, then why are you voting this way? Why are you voting against Medicare for all? Why are you voting for payday lenders? And at all times, Democrats everywhere need to be supporting Barbara Lee and Pramila Jayapal and any other progressive who tries to take on a leadership role or who puts forward legislation or who is being attacked for whatever the right wing or the establishment wing of the Democratic Party is attacking them for. So that's it. I'm listening to AOC. It's the same thing I've been saying for years. The left needs to be more strategic, targeting seats we can actually afford to win in order to empower us to take on the seats we can't yet afford to win. It's gross we have to consider money so strongly in a democracy, but it's the reality. And money in politics ain't going anywhere until we take over these seats. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and please subscribe to this channel so I can keep making videos like this. I know I'm probably gonna receive some hate for this video, but I still would love to hear what you guys think. Thank you, and we will see you next time on Run It Back.